So today we'll be reacting to, what's the video name again? Which Illumination animation character would win Squid Game? Let's see.
Today we're
Also, the one reason why I'm watching this is because I want Gru to win, because I know he's a part of the Illumination universe.
pitting 60 of the most iconic Illumination characters against each other to see who will win the Squid Game.
Welcome to the Squid Game. We're excited for everyone to play.
Today's roster of contestants is as follows: Gru, Kyle, Margot, Edith, Agnes, Vector, Kevin, Stewart, Bob, Otto, Wild Knuckles, Bell Bottom, Jean-Claude, Nunchuck, Svengeance, Stronghold, Scarlet Overkill, Herb Overkill, El Macho, Baltazar Brat, Lucy Wild Gru, Poppy Prescott, EB, Fred O'Hare, Carlos, the Lorax, Ted, the Onceler, Aloysius O'Hare, Max, Duke, Gidget, Chloe, Snowball, Sergey, Hugh, Buster Moon, Rosita, Johnny, Miss Crawley, Mina, Big Daddy, Ash, Mike, Jimmy Crystal, Gunther, the Grinch, Max, Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Peach, Donkey Kong, Kamek, Toad, Mac, Dax, Pam, and Gwen Mallard, and Uncle Dan.
The following are the ground rules in this Squid Game. Number 1, no outside allies or sidekicks. 2, no outside weapons, with the sole exception of any equipment needed to survive. Number 3, no magic. 4, natural abilities are allowed. The first game is...
Yes, I actually kind of used that logic in my Squid Game. Because, my domino guy has his little thing, and he stabs people, but he needs it to survive. Because he's vulnerable.
Red light, green light. You may move forward when it shouts green light. Stop when it shouts red light. If your movement is detected afterwards, you will be eliminated.
Speed, composure, and general athletic ability are the most important skills in this round. Gru and the Gorals are surprisingly strong contenders in this first game. Ignoring the horrifyingly dark turn the game is going to take in like 5 minutes, Gru is surprisingly agile and strong for a guy with such an unusual build. He's also able to go undercover for his work, which reveals an ability to keep calm under pressure. As for the Gorals, we all know neither Gru nor Lucy are gonna let anything happen to them this early on. During times like this, family has to stick together, a fact that keeps Mario, Luigi, and the Mallard family safe for the time being. The villains are in good shape too, since their character is least likely to be fazed by all the bloodshed. So for now, Bowser, Kamek, Jimmy Crystal, Vector, and Baltazar Brat are still in the running. Unfortunately, not everyone has the best luck in this round. When the Grinch's dog, Max, saw another
conference call, feature wall, department head, sourdough bread, hourly rates.
Unfortunately, not everyone has the best luck in this round. When the Grinch's dog, Max, saw another dog named Max in the running, he was excited to make a new friend, but he did so during a red light, sadly resulting in both Maxes being eliminated.
Players eliminated.
Of course, Gidget wasn't about to let her man's eliminators get away unpunished, so she rushed for the first guard she could sink her teeth into, a move that got her eliminated as well.
Player eliminated.
Even the more intimidating dog, Kyle, lost this round due to his more animalistic instincts.
Player eliminated.
With the least experience out of the Despicable Me crew, Poppy Prescott falls in this round as well.
Player, you have been eliminated.
The same goes for Otto, who just couldn't resist running after a new pet rock he thought looked pretty during a red light.
Player eliminated.
That pet rock happened to be Miss Crawley's always unreliable glass eye, and since it's technically part of her body, the higher-ups decided it rolling across the floor warranted her elimination.
Player eliminated.
I mean, come on guys, that's just cold. And speaking of cold, once again Wild Knuckles is betrayed by the people he trusted most. Belle took the opportunity of the game's true nature to sabotage Wild Knuckles and make herself the de facto leader of the crew. And surely leading them through this death game would cement her position.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Finally, the last villain to lose in this round is Sergey from Secret Life of Pets 2.
Player eliminated.
And honestly, good riddance. We only feel sad for his elimination because it came right after Hugh's elimination, who, like some of the other animals, was excited to make some new friends.
Player eliminated.
But hey, with that, it looks like round 1 is complete. Gunther seems pretty hyped about it, dancing his butt off in celebration as soon
Damn!
as the clock strikes 0.
Who's glad he made it?
The thing is, though, he's like only a quarter of the way across the playing field.
Oh. Die, you little idiot.
So good effort, Gunther, but not quite enough, sadly.
Player, you have been eliminated. 49 out of 60 players remain. Let's move on to the next
I mean, at least you stayed still.
game, Honeycomb. Players must cut out the shape from their cookies. Those who break their cookie or run out of time will be eliminated.
Patience, steady hands, dexterity, and artistic skills will come in handy here, as will general resourcefulness and creativity. Once again, Gru has an advantage thanks to his weapons prowess. While Nefario does most of the inventing, Gru is still tactically skilled enough to use all the gadgets and weapons that come out, so he won't have an issue.
And here, of course, is the new weapon you ordered.
Let's go! Gru, you've made it!
He'd certainly help the kids out as well, and Margot would be playing the role of the group therapist for the undoubtedly terrified Agnes. Then there's Bowser and Johnny, both of whose piano skills get them through this round. We can't help but wonder if Johnny's piano prowess is related to Big Daddy's bank robbing training, but in any case, they're all safe for now. Rosita is able to take care of like 30-something kids and made a Rube Goldberg machine to assist with it on at least one occasion, so she's surprisingly in good shape despite losing a good friend in the last round. As for Mike,
Oh, is that one that danced even though we made it a quarter of the way there?
he could just nibble his way around the cookie into whatever shape he needs to make. Dax is another small player with impressive skills. He managed to fashion a new wing for himself out of Sergei's shedded feathers, which shows a lot of skill.
I was literally watching Migration. I was watching Migration on Friday because of wet play.
With his hands, especially for a guy who literally doesn't have hands. Gwen is safe as well, since he'd definitely help her through this round too. Unfortunately, this setting is less lighthearted than Migration, which means that Mac's overconfidence would be his downfall. He would insist on carving the family's cookies for them, only to end up cracking his own under pressure.
Player eliminated.
Worry not though, dear family. Silly old Uncle Dan is here to save the day. Oh, nope. He just broke his cookie before he even touched it. I'm not even sure how he managed that.
Player, you have been eliminated.
The Grinch is having a rough time after losing Max, but he's still doing his best to survive. He has his own gadget expertise and piano playing skills to depend on, so he's going to narrowly survive this.
Why do so many Illumination characters know how to use the piano? Like, use another instrument.
Mayor O'Hare is out of luck though, since he's one of those greedy CEOs who basically lets others do all the hard work while he reaps all the rewards. In fact, he didn't even try to win this round. Instead of cutting his cookie out, he went up to one of the masked soldiers and tried to bargain with them. In exchange for letting him move on, he would give them a 0.0001% stock in O'Hare Air at half price.
Player, you have been eliminated.
I mean, who knows why the soldiers refused such a generous deal. As for Duke, he was almost doomed in this round, but thankfully Chloe has God-given claws to get both of them through to the next round. As for Snowball, he's out for vengeance for his fallen friends, and has experience using pointy objects in general, so he'll pass.
I'm not playing. I said to the sewers!
And the last loser in this round is poor Kamek, whose fingers are still recovering from Bowser absolutely crushing them with a piano cover. If this were game Bowser, he might have cut out his cookie to make up for it. But since magic is outlawed, Kamek isn't really all that helpful, so Bowser sees no reason to bail him out.
Player eliminated.
This place started out as a tiny little stream. There wasn't much biodiversity at all. It has been really hard work. We've had to convince a lot of local people, but having beavers in our landscape can alleviate flooding, it clean up our water and provide habitat. It's a natural solution.
Player eliminated.
These advertisements are cutting down the length of cutting up the length of the video. It's getting longer because of them. And it's getting longer because I paused it. What am I even saying?
45 players remain. It's time for our next game.
Now everyone can get a team in six-legged pentathlon.
Six-legged pentathlon. The rules are as follows.
Also, I don't know why it's called six-legged pentathlon. There's 5 people. If you counted every individual leg, you get 10 legs. And plus, there's also 5 games too.
Players will split up into groups of 5, tie their legs together, and move in tandem around a track. Every 10 meters...
Should be called 5-legged pentathlon or at least 10-legged pentathlon. It should be one or the other.
One player will play a mini-game until it is completed, with each member playing once. The goal is to complete all games in the allotted time, repeating each one until it is complete.
So here are the mini-games. Diaki, throw a paper tile at the ground to flip over another paper tile. Flying Stone, throw a small stone at another small stone to knock it down. Gongi, a traditional game of Korean jacks. Spinning Top. And Jeggy, kick a Jeggy in the air 5 times in a row, kinda like hacky sack. Balance, composure, and general gaming prowess come in.
You didn't tell them about spinning top. So you spin, so you put a rope around this thingy, and then you just push back and hope it lands.
Play here. But also, perhaps most importantly, teamwork. This will be the point of the game where alliances and teams start to get formed.
Can you explain Gongi? I don't remember. I don't think he... Oh yeah, he said it was like Korean jacks, didn't he?
Some of the teams are so easy to come up with, it's hardly even worth talking about. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, and DK are not only pre-established allies, but they have their own skill sets that make them invaluable to the game. Toad is an outdoorsman, Mario and Luigi are both repairmen, Peach just does anything, basically, and DK is immensely physically strong.
It is on like Donkey Kong!
Gru, Lucy, and the Gore. Gru, Lucy, and the Gorals are also in good standing here. Honestly, we think Agnes should be assigned the throwing stone game. Let's not forget that she was the one who rightfully hit that UFO in that carnival game. Dax, Pam, and Gwen would stick together as well, and being a fellow vulnerable bird in distress, we're sure Carlos would guilt trip his way onto their team. Fellow underdogs Duke, Chloe, and Snowball would team up with EB and Fred, since bunnies need to stick together. The teams are fairly simple, but as for how they do, that's a different question entirely. The Mario crew and the Gru family would do just fine, and so would the minions, carrying whoever they teamed up with by their sheer chaos. And since they tend to team up with whoever the biggest, baddest villain around is, we're sure they'd be more than happy to join forces with Bowser. But not every villain is safe. Jimmy Crystal succeeded in intimidating Buster and Mike into teaming up with him, since small teammates were better than no teammates. Unfortunately, Jimmy ended up overestimating his team's competence. Their other teammates, Vector and the Grinch, greatly overstated their skill sets to ensure they
The Grinch actually died. I couldn't be watching him this year.
have a team by the time the game started, and combined, they did okay, but struggled just enough to lose overall.
Players eliminated.
And as much as we hate to do the rest of the Mallards like this, Dax, Pam, Gwen, Carlos, and the Lorax are just out of luck. And it's a shame because in terms of quality, Migration is a very underrated Illumination movie. But in terms of power scaling, you know, they're just ducks. I mean, they were impressive ducks, but compared to other players, they were pretty lacking.
Why are we the only birds heading this way?
We're sure Carlos's negative cooperation skills wouldn't help, and while the Lorax was determined to help woodland critters in need, even he couldn't save this train wreck of a team.
Players eliminated.
2 packs of Ben's Original. 3 friends for life. We're all original recipes.
Players eliminated. 35 players remain. Our next game is Mingle. Here are the rules. Players will stand on a rotating platform in the center of a large circular room. At any given moment, a number will be called out, at which point players have 30 seconds to get into groups of said number and secure a room for themselves. Any player who does not find a room with the correct number of players will be eliminated.
Speed, composure, and ruthlessness are your best friends in this round. Which characters are physically able to make sure they get a room, and which ones would actually do what it took to go through with it? The way I see it, both supervillains and family men are capable of eliminating others for the sake of their family, if it comes down to it.
I am so excited. This is perfect.
That means that Gru and El Macho are in good standing, since one has family with him and the other has his family back home. That kind of determination definitely carries Rosita through this round as well. Her husband can't take care of them solo forever, after all. Scarlet and Herb would be willing to take down anyone in their path, if it meant ensuring that they and their love would live on. As for Bowser, he's an absolute powerhouse, and since Bowser Jr. isn't here, there's no reason for him to hesitate against any of his opponents. Well, except for Peach, but we're sure she'll manage. The less physically impressive players are out of luck in this round. Without weapons, it's game over for Balthazar Brat, Ted, the Onceler, and Nunchuck.
Players eliminated.
Despite their size, we're gonna have to cut Mina here as well, since she's too timid to fight back against players like Bowser and El Macho.
Player, you have been eliminated.
And unfortunately, it's time to get to the saddest of the eliminations, the noble sacrifices. Toad is a friend to everyone, and wouldn't hesitate to put himself in the line of fire if it meant his princess lived to fight another day. So this is the end of the line for him.
Player eliminated.
Thankfully, Mario and Luigi have an even sweeter brotherly bond than usual in the movie, so we think they're capable of surviving. We wish we could say the same for Fred and EB, but it's more likely that Fred would slip up, and his only choice would be tossing EB into a vacant room just in time for his survival.
Player eliminated.
Chloe was the least determined of the remaining Secret Life of Pets reps in the running, so she's down for the count next.
And soon, your perfect little life with your dumb human is gonna be over. Forever.
She and Snowball spent most of this game using Duke as their steed, but when push came to shove, she jumped off of him at the last second, despite Snowball's protest. She went down a hero and gave her remaining friends all the more reason to fight.
Player, you have been eliminated.
As for Kevin and Stuart, they were trying to come up with a plan during that infamous 2-round, but while they were fighting over who was going to leave the room, Bob kindly stepped outside and waved goodbye to his buddies. You better care for his teddy bear like a god after this.
Player eliminated.
2 more eliminations close out this round, and spoiler alert, they aren't any less sad. Big Daddy prioritized his son's safety above all else, and when Johnny tripped up during one of the rotations, he escorted him to safety, only for Big Daddy himself to be shoved away by Bowser, who, by locking himself in with Johnny, confirmed that he'd move on to the next round, but cemented the former robber's fate.
Player eliminated.
And lastly, Lucy didn't hesitate to step outside and protect Gru and the Gorals when the situation demanded it, resulting in an elimination that might just tempt Gru to go on one last villain arc.
Player, you have been eliminated. 24 players remain. Congratulations to everyone who made it this far. It's time for the next game, Hide and Seek. Players will be separated into 2 teams, Hiders Blue and Seekers Red. Seekers will be given a knife with the requirement of killing at least 1 hider within the time limit. Hiders will be given one of 3 keys, gaining access to various doors and hiding places throughout the arena. They must either find a 3-keyed exit before time is up, or simply stay alive for 30 minutes. Also worth noting is that Seekers are not allowed to hunt each other.
For this game, roles are selected randomly, and players have a few minutes to mutually agree to swap if they so desire. With that said, here's how we think the teams would pan out. The Hiders include Margot, Agnes, Kevin, Stewart, EB, Duke, Rosita, Johnny, Ash, Mario, Luigi, and Peach. And our Seekers include Gru, Edith, Bellbottom, Svengeance, Jean-Claude, Stronghold, Scarlet, Herb, El Macho, Snowball, Bowser, and Donkey Kong. Hiders will want stealth on their side, but if they run into a Seeker, they'll either need the speed to outrun them, or the strength to defend themselves. Seekers will need strength, also the sheer brutality needed to kill. First things first, Bowser, El Macho, Scarlet, Herb, and Bellbottom have undoubtedly eliminated more than a few people throughout their careers, so this shouldn't be a problematic challenge for them. Herb also knows from experience that the minions can't die, so he and Scarlet would probably go after Rosita and Ash, the weakest of the anthropomorphic animals remaining.
Players eliminated.
As for Johnny, we feel like DK would challenge him to a one-on-one fight, eliminating the primate pianist fair and square. Sorry, Johnny, you did well, but only one of you has a whole platforming game where you rip chunks out of the earth.
Player eliminated.
As for Bowser, he was going to use this game to get some overdue revenge on Mario.
He's gonna beat this, isn't he? He's going to win.
and Luigi, but thankfully Peach came up with a foolproof strategy. If she stuck with the bros, there was no way Bowser would go after them and risk hurting her too. So instead, Bowser settled on EB as a quick snack.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Unfortunately, without powers, the Mario Brothers were still at a disadvantage. And when Stronghold got his hands on Luigi, it was game over for our favorite player number 2.
Player eliminated.
It wasn't that long ago when I couldn't have any of this.
I had pain from eating hot things cold.
It was game over for our favorite player number 2.
Player eliminated.
Mario was desperate to save his brother, despite Peach's insistence that he run, but in his grief, he left himself open to a stab from Bell Bottom.
Player eliminated.
Out of respect for their newfound friendship, Duke offered to let Snowball eliminate him so he could get home to his owner. And while Snowball did hesitate, he ultimately accepted, not willing to give up all his dress-up games with her.
You chose your side, and now you're gonna burn.
It wasn't easy, but Snowball reluctantly took out Duke, effectively bringing him out of retirement from eliminating pets. Poor guy.
Player eliminated.
And at this point, Gru came to the horrific realization that he'd run out of both time and options. In desperation, he chased down Peach, but her martial arts expertise kept her safe, as did Bowser's intimidation. In an act of loyalty, however, the remaining minions came up with a plan. Even though they knew they couldn't die, the soldiers didn't. So with Gru and Edith's help, Kevin and Stuart were eliminated, so their family could live on.
Players eliminated.
But tragically, El Macho also managed to survive this round by eliminating Margot, who threw herself on top of Agnes to protect her.
Player eliminated.
With that,
No, Margot.
the only hiders who survived were Agnes and Peach, and the only seekers who failed were Svengeance and Jean-Claude.
Players eliminated. 12 players remain. It's time for the next game. Marbles. You will play the game of your choice with your partner. The player to take.
So we'll have 6 in jump rope, and we need at least 4 in high. We'll need at least 4 for what was it now?
All 10 marbles wins. The loser will be eliminated.
Players pair up in teams of 2. However, it's revealed that they'll be playing against each other, meaning your opponent is likely the person in the games closest to you. You can play a game of luck or
This was one of the saddest games ever, especially when Ali died.
a game of skill. You can play fair or you can play dirty. But one thing is for sure, whoever you're teamed up with is gonna have to die
No, you can play dirty. I'm looking at Sangwoo right now.
in order for you to live. So let's take a look at the matchups in this game. Agnes versus Edith is the first matchup, and right off the bat, if Edith was out for blood, she'd easily win. She's stronger, older, and more ruthless than Agnes, which admittedly isn't saying much at all, honestly. But Edith does seem to have a soft spot for Agnes, and even if she didn't, she's not heartless, so while she wouldn't let Agnes win per se, she'd certainly pitch a fair game and go easy on her.
Player eliminated.
Gru versus El Macho is next. Gru was planning to sabotage El Macho during this round, so having the opportunity to do so more directly was a great chance. Determined to avenge his eldest Goral, Gru pitched a game that El Macho could easily win. If he could hit the wooden sign Gru set up and knock it over, he'd win.
We can do it together. Together?
The arrogant cook agreed to this easy game and hit Gru's makeshift carny game. But just as he started celebrating, Gru pointed out that the sign was hit, but not knocked over. Do you know what that means, El Macho? It means blam.
Player eliminated.
Scarlet versus Herb is a bit of a cruel matchup, even for two proud, experienced villains. But ignoring the fact that neither of them could directly eliminate the other, Herb is such a doting husband that he'd drop everything to fall for his love. And while Scarlet loves him, we think she's just selfish enough to accept that.
Player eliminated.
Bell Bottom versus Stronghold is a pretty easy one. Since Belle was willing to betray the founder of her gang and potentially ice him, why would she hesitate here? Poor Stronghold 13-year-old had really come to trust Bell throughout the games, resulting in his untimely loss.
Player eliminated.
Peach versus Bowser is the penultimate matchup this round. Bowser is actually quite smart, despite being a loudmouth brute, but Peach is his one weakness in these movies. And Peach knows this. Why else would she bother teaming up with him, other than knowing that she could manipulate him if the need arises? Sorry Bowser, but it looks like your sequel has been delayed.
Player eliminated.
And the final matchup this round is Donkey Kong versus Snowball. On a similar note to the previous matchup, Snowball is an easy character to underestimate. He wouldn't be dumb enough to agree to a strength-based game against a literal gorilla, but he'd pitch something fair enough that Donkey Kong would think he could win no problem.
What's it look like I'm doing? I'm looking for crime, tiny dog. I'm doing superhero stuff. Tip, 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 tip.
All Snowball would need to do is keep DK feeling lucky and confident until he could pull the rug out from underneath him.
Honestly, I would never have thought that Snowball sounded like that if I never heard him. Because as I said, I have watched Secret Life.
The leader of the bunch, but not the leader of these games.
Invite them all to draw, skip, and go wild. Laugh till it hurts.
And confident until he could pull the rug out from underneath him. He was the leader of the bunch, but not the leader of these games.
Bro, my video's already longer than this video.
Player eliminated. Only 6 players remain. It's time to move on to our penultimate game, Jump Rope. In this game, players must cross a dangerous bridge while making sure they aren't knocked off by a gigantic double Dutch style jump rope. They'd best be careful, because the rope speeds up over...
You know what? I hope Gru gets Agnes.
Time, and they only have 20 minutes to cross.
Unlike last stepping stones, there's no reliance on luck here. Just sheer agility, speed, and composure. You'll need courage, balance, and good timing to get through this round. Players with kind hearts can help weaker players across, but those with a more mischievous nature could easily sabotage the game to help their own chances. But real quick, let's see who's still standing at the moment. Gru, Agnes, Bell-Bottom, Scarlet Overkill, Snowball, and Peach. Gru has one goal at this point: get Agnes across to safety, and get home so they can live semi-normal lives after all the trauma they've experienced. With Gru's surprising flexibility and athleticism, he would succeed with relatively little difficulty, as would the platforming master Peach. As for Bell-Bottom and Scarlet Overkill, they came to the realization that they were the last truly evil players in the game, so they pitched an alliance to have a better chance at survival. They also invited Snowball into this alliance, but only so, at the end of the line, they could shove him off the bridge to show the other players that they meant business. Evil business.
Player eliminated. 5 players remain. It is now time for the final round. Prepare for our final game, Squid Game.
This game is designed for at least 4 players with at least 3 eliminations. Players press a button on each tower to begin the round, after which they'll have a set amount of time to push at least one living player off the tower. Once a player is pushed off, the others may move on to the next tower. However, many players are on the final circle-shaped tower at the end after at least one player was eliminated, will be crowned the winner or winners of the Squid Game. The remaining players can either depend on diplomacy to decide which player to gang up on, or they can just jump into a full-on brawl and see how things turn out. And it all starts on the square tower. Effectively, there are basically 4 players left in the running. Since Gru is literally carrying Agnes, those two are the most vulnerable, leading Belle and Scarlet to argue that Agnes should be eliminated. Of course, not only would Gru never go for this, neither would Peach. We think it's more likely that Peach, having lost most of her inner circle in just one series of games, would offer to jump in place of Agnes, allowing the remaining 4 to argue amongst themselves.
Player eliminated.
That said, she did leave them with an interesting choice of words. Best of luck to whichever of you two succeeds in betraying the other, leaving the 2 villains suspicious. The remaining 4 moved on to the Triangle Tower. Scarlet and Belle's suspicion had grown stronger than their survival instincts. They didn't just want to live, they wanted to win. The result was an all-out brawl between the 2. Gru rightfully sensed that it was best to leave them be, and his only action in this round was pressing the button with his foot. The supervillainesses fought hard, and it was a close match for a while, but Scarlet's impressive resourcefulness and bloodlust gave her the advantage. And just like that, Belle was given the same fate she bestowed upon Wild Knuckles earlier.
in these films, which were set before the Despicable Me films, the main villains of them are really good at this.
Eliminated.
So finally we move on to the final phase, the Circle Tower. The final three was decided. Gru, Scarlet, and Agnes were the only survivors left in this twisted game, and only
You've made it so far, Gru. You could do
two, if even that many, would go free. Scarlet tried to reason with Gru, saying the pair could team up after they'd each lost their better half. The thought of teaming up with her was sickening to Gru, but he played along so he'd have the opportunity to trip her off the ledge, a move that Scarlet saw right through. Scarlet latched onto Gru, essentially pulling him off the ledge with her, but fortunately Gru was able to grab the ledge himself at the last second, leaving him dangling, with Scarlet dangling from his leg. Agnes tried her best to pull him up, but didn't have the physical strength. But seeing her face gave Gru the motivation needed to kick Scarlet in her face and into the abyss, and just barely pull himself up. It wasn't a happy ending, but at least Gru and Agnes could return home together.
No, he did it! Oh my gosh, he did it. We did it. Let's go, gang.